Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the story of a company that's facing a choice that could absolutely make or break its future. And it's a fascinating paradox, really. What happens when your own wild success becomes your single biggest problem?
So let's start with a question for you. Imagine you've built something special, right? Something people genuinely love and connect with. And now you get this incredible chance to take it global, to hit a scale you've only dreamed of. But here's the catch. The risk is so high, one wrong move could unravel everything you've worked so hard to build. What do you do? Well, this isn't just some thought experiment. This is the exact high-stakes dilemma facing a company called Neon Fizz Beverages. Their story and the choice they have to make is just a perfect illustration of a classic crossroads that so many growing businesses eventually hit.
Okay, so to really feel the weight of their decision, we have to understand how Neon Fizz got so big in the first place. So let's rewind the clock a bit and take a look at their incredible nostalgia formula.
See, Neon Fizz wasn't just another soda company, not at all. They were in the memory business. It was like they tapped into this collective desire for simpler times, specifically the neon-drenched 1990s. At their core, they weren't selling a drink, they were selling a feeling.
Their recipe for success was actually pretty simple, but it was just so powerful. First, they went to all this trouble to recreate iconic, often discontinued soda flavors from the 90s. Then, they insisted on using high-quality ingredients. They put it all in these cool, distinctive glass bottles. And the final step? They plugged directly into social media, where 90s nostalgia was already this huge, powerful wave.
And the result was something way more than just a fizzy drink. Their throwback collection became known as this, a portal to childhood memories. And that is the kind of powerful emotional connection that fueled their viral success. It's what took them from being a tiny startup to a major player, seemingly overnight. And this is where the story takes a sharp turn, because that incredible, explosive growth created a brand new and very urgent problem. Put simply, they were becoming too popular, way too fast for their own good. So it really all came down to this one simple, kind of crazy fact. Their own success created a production bottleneck that they just couldn't ignore anymore. Demand was shooting through the roof, but their ability to actually make the stuff had slammed into a hard ceiling. So here's the nuts and bolts of it. Their trusted bottling partner over in Pennsylvania was great, super reliable, but it was a finite resource. And now they had officially maxed it out. They had reached full capacity. There was literally no way to bottle one more drink, which meant growth was physically impossible with their current setup. This massive constraint basically forced them to a crossroads, with two totally different options on the table. And each path would define the entire future of the company. No pressure, right? So on one hand, you have this safe path. Stick with what you know, accept that you can't grow much more, but keep total control over your brand. On the other hand, there's the risky gamble. A massive international manufacturing deal. This promises global scale, huge cost savings, but it comes with enormous risks to their reputation. But you know, the real danger wasn't just in the numbers. It was in these unquantifiable risks, the stuff you can't just plug into a spreadsheet. I mean, how do you even begin to measure the financial risk of losing your brand's integrity? Or the potential damage from one little mistake in a super complex global supply chain? So all of this brings us to the final reckoning. This is the core tension at the very heart of this entire business case. It's a decision that basically pits the soul of the company against its own ambition. And this table just lays out the trade-offs so clearly. For every incredible promise, major cost savings, a global presence, unlimited production, there was this absolutely terrifying peril waiting on the other side. A potential supply chain collapse, a financial crisis, or maybe worst of all, watering down the very identity that made them so special in the first place. When you boil it all down, the entire complex decision really just comes to this one single conflict. They have to weigh the numbers they can see, the cost savings, the profit margins, against the risks they can only feel, the immeasurable value of their brand's authenticity. And that leaves us with this final, really provocative question. And it's not just a question for Neon Fizz, but for any growing business that trades on its identity. When your whole brand is built on being real, on being authentic, how much of that can you afford to sacrifice just to get bigger? What exactly is the true price of ambition?